We are back with episode 2 of the unnamed / working title / hyphen's gotta get on our game podcast. Danny Two Guns with the Lisa Kameni Foster, aka Hyphen, and our special guest for the week, the 2018 Chari Figurski.
Wow.
The one and only, the original CF.
That's a lot of pressure right
I mean,
there.
everyone calls me CF, Chari, but you really are the original CF.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure.
And in my world, sometimes it stands for cluster, you know what, but it never stands for that for you.
Oh, yes, it does. You just
Never.
don't see it. You
Never.
just don't see it.
You're really good at hiding it.
Thank you.
Do we want to put you on the spot for a little 30-second intro for who exactly the 2018 Chari Figurski is?
I don't know exactly what you want to know. Just
Ask
away.
When people tell me, they say start at the beginning. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Okay, I just drew a great big blank.
So specifically on who the 2018 Chari Figurski is? Well, why do we give you a year before your name?
I was wondering the same thing.
Because when I first came here, I was not quite the same person that I am now. And every year you're better, so you get a new year.
Okay.
So it was 2014, and it actually started because we had a certain amount of goals, and if she wants to tell you the exact goal that I'm remembering, she can. But it turned out, it was like, okay, 2015 Chari Figurski isn't going to have these insecurities. And then literally every year, constant and never-ending self-improvement Chari Figurski. So every year, 1 year better, so we kind of evolve, and every year.
Every year.
Progress and progress.
That's it. Pretty soon
And
you're not
here-
going to be able to stop it.
I'm terrified and excited all at the same
Don't
time.
be scared.
Earlier, while we were waiting for Joe and his technical difficulties, we had some good banter, and Chari even mentioned, she's like, before I joined here, I didn't even know I was strong.
I did not.
What does that mean?
I just thought I was an ordinary girl.
I'm mortified by that.
I was going
Sorry.
to say, see, this is how far we've come since 2013 Chari Figurski.
Makes my
Seriously,
chest hurt.
I was definitely a mouse then. Definitely
Yes.
a mouse.
I asked Chari Figurski, this is a good literary reference, so for all the literary nerds and non-nerds out there, a wonderful American writer named Annie Dillard wrote an essay called The Writing Life, and in this essay she asks, in a great rhetorical strategy, in parentheses, are you a woman or a mouse? My students are mystified by this question, and I just ask them all the time, well, are you a woman or a mouse? And I continue to ask them that all year until they answer me, I am a woman, and very insistently. And so I asked Chari Figurski, what is the moment when you became a woman and not a mouse?
It was actually probably with the whole deadlift in a dress incident.
Spectacle.
Spectacle. Extravaganza.
Yes.
Yes, nothing with Daniel Two Guns is an incident. It's always a spectacle.
Okay.
True.
There was a time when I deadlifted in a dress, and it was a Facebook post, and someone commented something that was not really all that kind. And normally I would have just let it go, and then I don't know what happened. I just stood up for myself and spewed all this, and I'm like, that's it. I'm strong. Dan, I think, said he was gonna say something, but I'm like,
That's
no.
because the deadlift and address thing was a big thing. It was mainly because we had deadlift goals, and primarily because of insecurities related to not wanting to wear a dress. So deadlifting in the dress became a goal, and it was a really big goal for the two of us. And then we posted it on Facebook, and it was funny. The person who commented, I had heard stories about her prior to knowing that was the actual person who posted it, and I saw the post, and I was like, okay. So I was doing like the Danny Two Guns, like I type a lot, and it gets really mean, so I erase it, and then I type a lot, and it's really mean, so I erase it. And then she commented, and I'm like, damn.
There you go.
I don't even need to comment
Woman.
because she just owned it.
We're no longer friends, but that's okay. There was a
She
time
doesn't
I would-
deserve you, Chari Figurski.
There was a time I would have begged for forgiveness. Those days are over.
Boom. We don't need that negativity in our life.
We do not. Do not.
You know what I also tell my students is we hope that is this person a grown up?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, well in
Well,
size.
she in
anyways.
chronological age.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always tell my students we hope that people will be, as they get older, we hope that they'll be grown up. We have these expectations that they'll, be mature and things like that. But really, a lot of people are just taller middle schoolers. It sounds like that person is just a taller middle schooler.
Definitely a taller middle schooler.
She needs to take a flying fart on a rolling donut.
It's all good.
What?
Moving on.
Well, I think it's a good transition aside because we've talked a lot about how when people say negative things about people and try to put them down that way, often we take it personally and intrinsically that way. I don't know what Joe's doing off camera, but
He likes my noises. I got a better chair.
It's Hyphen is on the ball chair today, which is why the height difference is not nearly as high as it was last week.
People decided that they didn't like your menacing patriarchy anymore.
And menacing patriarchy to be Hyphen, I could never.
Yes.
So I had to give up my throne to the truly deserving one who has it.
It's about time. It took one day.
One day, and my wife being like, "Give Hyphen the ball chair," and I was
Jenny,
like, "I was
I
gonna
love
already."
Yes.
But how the whole females being mean to other females negativity thing, how often the things they say is a representation of their own insecurities and feeling negative, but we take it personally, but it's just a reflection of them doing that because a healthy, well-adjusted person doesn't put people down like that, but it's so easy for us to take it personally and apologize for shit we do not have to apologize for.
No apologies.
No apologies.
Oh. Can I please ask you, how did you meet the one and only, how did the one and only Danny Two Guns meet the one and only Chari Figurski?
We both worked at the same gym at one point.
When we first met, I definitely wasn't the Danny Two Guns.
Because I don't know.
He was not.
I don't know the story. That wasn't a setup. I don't know the story.
We just worked at the same gym.
Oh.
He was not the same person either.
What does that mean? I
Yeah.
need you to elaborate.
He's not. Wow, that's a tough question.
Lay it all out there. We don't hide things here.
We don't. We're
You are
online.
way more educated.
Hand
as a
motions
teacher.
suggest
I don't-
elaborating.
That's a hard question.
Well-
I'm going to be doing roofies for days.
Yes! Roofies are rear foot elevated split squats, for those who don't know our nomenclature.
I don't want to do any of those.
other- They're in the future for just about everyone in this room not named Danny Two Guns.
No.
It's actually because when she first met, I had one certification, and it was the one that I got in a weekend that got me to be certified.
Squats.
And then certification in squats, I mean, that was later.
Oh.
The first was like, hey, does this hurt? No. Okay, you're certified. Okay. Which is another topic for another time. But that's part of the difference, right, is the level of education. And it was probably a couple of years even, because we first met when I was doing my internship, right?
I believe so.
So that'd be 09.
Yes.
That was a long time ago.
And then
Oh, he was a young buck.
He was.
Oh, just a
He
young
was.
little whippersnapper.
Just a young kid.
The trend at that gym was like as soon as you reach a certain time, then you just didn't work there anymore. You don't know how that happens. So would that be a fair assessment of like the casualties of the people as we progress?
I think like 6 of us all walked out on the same day and we're like, that's it, we're done.
What were you doing there?
I worked at the front desk.
Oh.
But yeah, like 6 of us all walked out at the same time and we're like,
Did you
that's
guys
it, we're
scream,
done.
"This is bullshit," and throw towels around and leave?
At least one person was not being properly treated, so all of us are like, too bad for you, we're done.
It was a coup.
It was my first and only coup. And we all were like, see ya.
They stormed out, they said this wedding is horse shit and that they didn't want salmon and all these other things that in
Definitely.
context, right? No, but that, a fully justified coup.
It was.
Okay.
It was.
And then
And we all got letters in the mail saying we weren't allowed to go back to that gym because
You were banned.
we did. We got a letter from
Rebels.
the lawyer. We weren't allowed to go back. So then when Dan started his business, he's like, hey, come here. And I'm like, no.
No.
I had to ask 3 times. Yeah, it was like
He did. And then when he came here, he's like, how about if you just come here for the old gym for like 1 week? I'm like, no. How about if I don't go to that gym even for 1 day? and then I came here.
Why were you so reluctant?
Well,
I
this
got
was-
a letter from the lawyer that said, "Don't come
So
here."
she's not referencing this facility. She's referencing when I had a studio in the
I
back
thought
of
she
that
was
facility.
talking
Oh, no.
smack
No,
on
no.
you.
No,
Oh,
no.
no.
This
Because
because
I want to know where that hostility. I wanted to dig deeper into the hostility.
I try not to be hostile. I try to be very
that's so
forgiving.
2014 Sherry Figurski.
Okay.
I wasn't
We're gonna need a
hostile then.
timeline of all the different Chari Figurskis.
Yes, me and my
When-
Emmy.
We can put it up back here.
In the edited version of this, we're gonna timeline the stuff out of that. That was hard. So what were we 13 minutes before I cursed this time?
Yes.
No, because my studio was in the back, and that was when I first said, "Hey, why don't you come to the studio?" And she's like, "Not there," and I was
Oh.
like,
No
"I got it."
thanks.
So then, in October 2013, when I moved into this facility, guess who got reached out very quickly after I moved into this
Actually,
facility?
I think I contacted you. Someone else told me you were coming here, and I'm like,
Oh, I
hey, let's check it out. And we came for the open house and met Jeremy Reed and a few other wonderful people. And then-
Do you know that, Hyphen? We did a grand opening with a book signing for my #1 best-selling book.
This would be where the book plug comes in, I think.
I don't have the book.
And I did not know that, no.
I have a signed copy of the book.
Wow, I'm behind.
You are way
I
behind.
wonder
Yeah.
what I wrote in that. Can we bring that in and put it in the edited version?
We'll talk about that.
All right. I like that.
Write that down.
Oh my gosh.
Write it down, Joe Joseph. You know he has a notebook.
I don't
Yeah.
like it when Joe writes things in the book because then I have to do them.
Right?
Yes.
Well, so good aside and transition to right here. Joe took notes last week about things we could do better, some ideas he had, and he wrote down the Chari Figurski buttercream that she needed to do some baked goods. And when I told her that we needed some baked goods, she was not sold nor having that. And I told her that Joe Joseph had written it down, and then we have these delightful baked goods full of buttercream,
It's very official.
right?
Very
Buttercream.
official. Very official.
And you can be pretty sure that these will be, probably not here in the very near future.
They actually all have buttercream except the chocolate chip cookies. But it is National Chocolate Chip Day, so
How did we drop the ball on that too? We're only doing podcasts on like national cool days, like teacher appreciation. and
maybe you
chocolate
should
chip
get your
day.
little calendar out and check it out every time.
Justin actually has one of those.
He does.
Yeah.
We were talking about it in class the
Yes.
other day. He
My
let us
birthday
all
is
know.
on National Saxophone Day or something.
Well, that's
Play some Kenny G and eat some
Right.
buttercream. Sounds very romantic in
There
a dark
you go.
parking lot.
say
in a parking lot.
Bounce on this chair.
my birthday's on the Day of the Dead. How about that, Lisa?
I better stop that.
We can open up Pandora's box here.
Yeah, they're gonna shut Facebook down.
Yeah.
This is gonna get so many views. I'm stopping.
We need to post that little clip of Hyphen and what we're looking at right below our camera right here is be a X-rated Facebook day. So
It's a black
Hyphen,
man.
being a teacher and preparing in the way she does, she's like, we gotta have topics, we gotta do this. And I'm like, I think it's gonna flow okay, but we did have topics. Can you guess what my #1 topic for the Chari Figurski was?
Sleep.
Ooh, that should have been my answer, yeah.
No, what is your #1 topic?
It was no negative self-talk.
I've come a long way in that department.
hmm Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
There is no negative self-talk anymore.
Did
I've
they
learned
use-
to. I've learned to. There is not. I've learned to accept myself for who I am.
Bullshit. Excuse. I'm really sorry, but I
That was an
Wow.
aggressive sneeze.
I didn't
That
feel
was-
good for a second. Allergies.
Wow. I think I've come a long way.
Chari, bless your heart. I think
Hands
you
are
might be
cold.
lying a little. You have come a long way.
But you don't
I was
even
going to
know.
say, at 2013 Chari Figurski, I don't know if there was any
I-
talk
I-
that wasn't negative
But I don't
self-talk.
think it's fair to say that there's never any
There's
negative
very little.
self-talk. Even Hyphen has negative self-talk.
Well, you shouldn't.
I know.
Hello.
So when you have that hair, there's really no negative self-talk that's just going to
Seriously.
happen,
You
right?
should see it in the morning. I look like Mrs. Crabtree from South Park. What's up, kids? Shut up, kids.
I wonder how many people are going to get that reference.
People who are old.
Well, I mean,
JoJo's old.
I'm old and I don't understand.
It's okay.
So.
yeah.
I may be older than
So
South Park.
where did the negative self-talk come from?
I think I was always that way. Always.
always that way with a combination of just events that precipitated that, or no?
Yes. I don't think there was ever a time when anybody ever said, hey, you're a good person, or hey, you are doing a good job, or, but now, watch out.
When we talk, like, people setting unrealistic expectations, and then when you don't meet them, criticizing, it's like, well, you set this expectation that not only I didn't want, but also you made up, and then you're shaming me for not getting there. I think would that be fair to say that kind of
Yes.
adds to certain things?
I think I had my own unrealistic expectations.
About fitness or
Fitness, my weight, goals. I think there was a time when Dan would say that I needed to eat a cheeseburger.
Can we put that picture in the edited version? The eat a cheeseburger picture?
Anyways,
I literally said that when I saw that picture.
He did. He did. And I have that I needed to eat a cheeseburger, and I thought I was still heavier. I still needed to lose weight. I was working with another trainer who told me that I needed to lose another 35 pounds.
That was at the eat a cheeseburger picture. She said she was told she still had to lose another 35 pounds. Oh, we can put both our eat a cheeseburger pictures into this. I'll put mine in if you put yours in. She said yes on camera.
I said, we'll talk about that. That is what I
He's
said.
writing
But I
stuff
think
down.
she might have nodded her head.
Wow. I'm feeling a little abused right now. This is not what I signed up, and I can take both of you.
Well,
She could easily take
yes.
me. I don't know about a hyphen.
I would have let you, because I always defer to you. Buttercream.
Okay, I think we're a little off
Do you know?
subject.
We're never off subject.
All
But
right.
This is our thing.
Okay.
Our thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Can you
I didn't know what
repeat
to call
my
it.
negative self-talk line that my wife always rolls her eyes when I say?
No.
No? You'd never let anyone talk to you the way you talk to yourself in your own head?
Yes, I don't talk to myself like that anymore.
That's I can agree with that completely. And that's what, hyphen calls you out to say never, but I
Okay.
think the progression and the growth is extraordinary.
I just think.
My shoulders don't touch in the front anymore.
Oh yeah. We have to show that picture of you where you're just a little mousy, shelly, Figurski.
Do you want to tell a little bit about maybe your story and the fluctuations and kind of coming to terms with what is fitness, and it's more than just the chasing aesthetic?
I think you guys
The chasing aesthetic.
Yes.
Daniel, is that your phrasing?
Yeah.
I like it. If I use it, I'll cite you.
Please do.
I will.
Dan Tunens, Esquire the Third.
Esquire.
Wow. The third.
We'll see. Harry.
We got a little off topic, but I mean,
We did exactly what you want to know. I think that I used to think fitness was being super thin and being able to run 100 miles and lift.
I think we have similar stories in the fact that we both lost near 100 pounds and then gained back near 100 pounds because we didn't necessarily do it the right way, and then finding what success looks like from, okay, I did it wrong and I messed some shit up, and now let's figure it out right. But also still having that constant dialogue of like, what does success look like? Because what everyone tells us or what everyone told us wasn't what was real.
I think I did it wrong more than once. I think like 3 times I lost like 80 pounds, 90 pounds. Yes, I'm the queen of roller coaster diet.
Well, not.
Now you're the queen of everything, right?
Well,
Not everything.
Lots of
I
things.
mean, the vast majority of things.
Yeah.
Yes, you can't be 100% on all the time. You gotta give yourself a break.
Well,
You're
unless
the
you're Shane
queen
Figurski.
of buttercream.
Well,
That makes me happy.
Yeah.
well, good.
Maybe my question was a little too broad. Is that what overwhelmed you with the question?
Maybe.
What about, like, what was the transition where we changed the dialogue of what success looked like?
I think when you try to do things that hurt you more than they help you, and then you finally realize, or maybe it was the running in the sand and breaking your foot after you were told not to run in the sand.
By who?
I don't know, some really wise person who told you not to run in the sand. You did, and you broke your foot. And then you did one-footed exercise.
He hates being right, doesn't he?
It's just like my curse.
Yeah. Everyone has a cross to bear.
Right?
It's yours. It's difficult.
Funny aside, which I hope my mother is watching this, one of my very humble lines is that, very rarely am I wrong. And I was telling someone that, and my mom's like, bullshit parts, he's right. And I'm like, it's my curse.
Wow.
There's a lot of modesty in this room.
There is a
Right?
lot
of modesty.
I was going to
modesty.
say,
A lot.
other than Joe, there's the modesty on this side of the room is just...
Wow.
It's intense. We've got to work on it.
I will. I'll work on
I won't.
it.
Well, and then the foot one was, I had to ask more than 3 times until I got the answer on that one.
You did. I tried to skirt the question. I'm like, I just broke my foot.
She practiced in law with that little interaction because she was skirting around all those things.
I was.
Did you come up with any good stories?
No, but I still did the Beast on the Bay after I broke my foot. That's what I was training for.
Mhm.
Yes.
All right, Chari.
And I think after doing hundreds upon hundreds of
One-legged exercises.
pistol squats on the good
Holy.
leg, she's like, maybe I'll almost listen.
That would be the
Like-
great leg, because I have one good leg and one great leg.
Right?
No bad leg.
I like that.
We're doing presses. What is it? The good arm and the great arm? Is that? Oh, was it a mobility one on your legs?
I think it was something with my foot.
Yeah. Oh, yes, the good foot and the great foot.
Yes. Yes. And then I realized how lucky I was to indeed have 2 feet.
She's like, I can't do it on my bad foot, and I'm like, you don't have a bad foot.
No.
Right.
I know a lot of people who do not have 2 feet. So I'm incredibly lucky to have 2 functioning feet. Just saying.
Ron Huruska, creator of PRI, always talks about how that person has no feet.
No feet?
That was it. Well, a functioning foot, not necessarily.
PRI. All these acronyms.
Posture Restoration Institute. That's why we tell people don't stand like that. If you want to see a humble, modest person, Ron Huruska, not that he's pretentious or anything, but he's too smart. He doesn't know how to talk to peasants like I.
You are not a peasant.
Thank you, Sheriff Figurski.
That would be
So
negative
far.
self-talk.
Oof. Just spinning it on me.
I'm just saying.
You're not wrong.
Practice what you preach, sir.
Science.
We should just eat
Oh,
buttercream.
science. The
Oh,
transition.
Yes. Daniel, what kind of socks do you have on today? Sherry Figurski, look away.
Sheriff Figurski, look away. Science. Am I in the shot?
Yikes.
Perfect.
Great.
Yikes.
The perfect blend of science and anecdote. Sherry Figurski's watching that I touch her leg and she doesn't like personal space for things. But she's growing.
It's great. It's just great.
Oh, the glasses are coming out.
I have to see what questions I have just to make sure
Okay.
that we're covering everything.
Okay.
What would you say is your favorite part of the Two Guns Training System's One Big Happy Dysfunctional Fitness family?
Other than
Other than hyphen.
Wow. One favorite thing?
2. 2's fine.
Wow. I just think the atmosphere on most days is, and the way everyone encourages everyone else.
Be we, not me.
Yes. Yes. It took me a second, but yes. Yes.
You are an important part of that.
Well, thank
You are everyone's cheerleader.
I was gonna say, because you and Luke battle for biggest
Greatest
celebrity
cheerleader.
here. Yeah.
Celebrity. That's a big word.
All right. Is it false?
You should just own the title.
All right then.
Just own it.
Next time I want a crown.
Own
okay?
it with what Maya Angelou would call, oh my gosh, all the literary references today. Oh, what a beautiful black woman. Own it with what Maya Angelou would call the sassiest of grace.
All right.
Mm.
I am quite sassy.
I was
Yes,
like,
you are.
sassiest of grace.
And
is
you are
good.
graceful. If you can deadlift in a dress, you are nothing but graceful.
That was no big deal.
And what was it? It was
just another day at
225 for 20, 275 for 11, and 295 for 10 in one Cinco de PRO.
I think it was 13,000 pounds by the time we did all
13,000 total volume in
Yikes.
11 minutes.
It wasn't 11 minutes.
It was
maybe-
19 minutes.
Okay, so that might be more accurate.
We're going to put those videos in this.
Yikes.
Oh, great.
Highly impressive.
Yikes.
Thanks.
Do you mind me sharing one of the things you said about the video?
Sure.
She's like, I was kind of worried about how my belly was jiggling a little bit. And then I realized how, or I think you dropped an F-bomb, right? How effing strong I was, and I forgot about it. And I'm like, boom!
Yeah.
Growth!
I'm pretty sure that's not what
Yeah.
anybody was looking at anyways.
That's
I'm like,
right.
maybe it wasn't even my belly. maybe this is my little heart rate monitor thingy.
Right?
Anyways,
You're an
Anyway.
animal.
I don't know about that.
How did you get so strong? That's the question.
I don't know. I guess working out. I guess I don't know. And I work a job where we have to move people a lot.
Consistent pursuit of the process.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Well, that's, I think
It's
people,
just basic science,
Right.
Daniel?
It is science.
well, my cliche line, people overestimate what they can do in 1 to 3 months and underestimate what they can do in 1 to 3 years, right? Let alone 5, right? It's
Yeah.
consistency
animal.
wins.
Thanks.
You're the epitome of consistency.
The first time someone called me a beast, I was offended. I'm like,
No,
hey!
no.
Well, I did not know what it
You're an
meant,
animal.
but-
I always say you're an animal.
I'll say, because beast, I mean, that's a pretty good summation
Yeah.
of the Chari Figurski.
The first time someone said it, I was a little offended, but I didn't really understand the term, so it's all good now.
Then she just started doing like a whole bunch of beastly
should be
stuff, and she's
proud.
like, I got this.
Yeah, I can do it. There's been more than once when you've had to tell me not to.
It's
be a
one
scaredy
thing when
cat.
someone calls you a beast because they're waxing your mustache.
Yes.
It's, that's slightly offensive because it's something that needs tended to. It's another thing when someone calls you a beast because you can lift a lot of shit. That's to be proud of.
Well, thanks.
You just go for it.
She got there.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's right.
You know the teacher in the room who has a little notepad that she's reading under the... Oh, she had to put her glasses on to see it.
That's pretty funny.
What's so funny about it?
I don't know that you didn't just put your glasses on in the beginning.
I don't need them the whole time.
Okay.
Do you want me to have glasses on because you have glasses on?
I do.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
we should have got my glasses.
Joe Joseph can crawl under the table and get them.
Probably not everybody's going to want to wear glasses because we have
Where are your
glasses.
That's
Glasses.
true. They're on my desk in my office.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a little far for Joe. He'll miss some note taking.
Let me ask you this, Chari.
Sure.
So I think I see people sometimes compare themselves to you because you are so great at what you do here. But I think they sometimes forget how long you have worked at everything you've done. How do you ever find yourself comparing your journey to other people's?
I really try not to do that. I try to meet people where they're at, including myself. Because you try to compare yourself to other people, you just open up yourself to something that you don't like. I think that a lot of people have trouble with self-confidence, and I struggled for a really, really, really long time. Some days I still fail miserably at that. But I try not to compare myself. There's a lot of people out there who can do things that I can't do, but that's not part of my journey. That's not part of where I'm going. And that's not really my goal. So I try not to. I do see someone do something and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I want to try that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could be the lady version of how Pope can lift,
Oh my
I would be
gosh.
all on
yeah,
that.
you are very... that does catch your eye, I will say.
We thought about having a Pope cast, right? So that's
Yeah.
like, right. He moves in 3 weeks, so it might have to be soon. But,
Oh.
yeah.
Wow.
But there's some kids out there that can lift really heavy out there too.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I just think, comparing, like, seeing other people do things and want to do it, like, doing your best version of it
Right.
is different than, like, oh, I have to do this thing. And it's
Right.
like, well, what if you can't?
Right, there's things like box jumps. I wanted to try box jumps. I did box jump. I did one box jump, and I'm like, okay, that was
I'm
no
all
big
set.
deal. I'm not doing it again.
Well, then maybe it was an overcoming fear thing, too.
It was
Yeah.
because I stood there and stared at it, and I'm like, I can do it. And then I did it once. I'm
Yeah.
done. I don't
Actually,
need to do
that
that
might be
again.
the only box jumps we've ever done in this facility because we don't do that. But
No, we don't.
had to do one, so we got it.
Yes,
Mhm.
one and done. Just because it was Karen there.
Because CF only stands for Chari Figurski here.
I don't think so.
It doesn't stand for that other thing where they do box jumps, right?
Correct.
Daniel?
Oh,
Okay.
that thing. Yeah.
I was being polite.
that other CF
Sometimes
reference.
I'm polite.
Yeah.
I missed it. Right over my head.
It's because I'm sitting so tall and pretty.
Is that it?
And I think too, because a lot of times they'll see clients who have been here for a long time, and they'll like the comparison, like, oh, well, I'm jealous of that. Where she's
Yes.
really good at, like, okay, it's not about this outcome; it's about the process, and not necessarily like an apple getting mad because it's not an orange, right? What are you doing, Joe Joseph?
There was a woman who came in here one time who was looking at different people, and she was saying, I want to look like her or her or her, and saying it out loud. And I was kind of offended because she didn't point at me. And I thought, no, you should point at me and say, I want to look like her. Why wouldn't somebody want to look like me? You shouldn't point at someone else and say, I want to look like her. You should say, you want to be the best version of yourself. But it took a long time for me to get that way.
I would love to have a journey that looks like hers.
Yeah.
Right, because I don't know if we have a total weight loss higher than you here. Right?
Probably not.
Right, but it's like, you know, how many people would, I'd love to lose 50% of my body weight.
Yeah. I'd love to lose people, not pounds.
Right.
That's my new saying now.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. But I was going to ask you too, how do you, so if you're in a funk with your, do you ever get in funks with your fitness and your eating and all of that?
I think everyone does.
Yeah.
Everyone does. But I also know myself that, if I don't feel like working out, I probably won't skip a workout because I've been down this road before. And one skip workout goes to 2 skip workouts, that goes to a week, that goes to a month, that goes to a year, and then I have to start all over. And I am not starting all over again. I'm
Ever
not.
again.
Never. I'm not.
So what advice would you tell, what advice would you give someone who's kind of in a funk, like, I feel like I'm not making any progress, or
I've failed at this thing so many times, I might as well just give up.
You have to embrace your failure. I failed at things. There's things that I still can't do. There's things like the clean and press. How long did we work on that clean and press? Forever. Forever.
And that's Josh Henkin. Mean.
But how do you convince someone to keep coming, or keep get your eating in order, or how do you convince them to be Chari Figurski, or to be not Chari Figurski, but
the best Chari Figurski version of themselves?
Yeah. To have habits where they don't give up because you don't, or 2018 Chari Figurski doesn't give up.
I would say look at where you started and look at where you are from where you started, or set smaller goals. Don't expect to be able to do something overnight that took someone else 5 years to do. And just because it took someone else 5 years to do it doesn't mean it's going to take you 5 years to do that.
Could be 1, could be 10.
It could be.
Could be my 8.5.
One, I think, not to put words in your mouth, but her dedication to the process, in that, what happened in this past hour not only doesn't define me, but it doesn't matter in this 52-week-a-year game we play. It matters in the 60-minute game you're playing, if that. But, whatever happened, it's okay, because I can get back on it, right? Developing strategies like, don't miss a workout, because it could lead to a snowball, but at the same time, hey, I know that this is a process, and we're working on this, and we've worked on it for 5 years, and we're going to work on it for the next 5 years, and nothing that can happen in this little bubble really matters.
It's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle. You have to give yourself a break. You can't expect to be perfect at everything every day. There's going to be days when you're dog tired and that maybe you need to stay home. That was a hard one for me when I was...
Hey, don't come to the gym. Sleep an extra 2 hours. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that was like a big fight. I could never come when I was tired. I would be here and I'd be dragged, and Dan would be like, "Are you tired?" I'm like, "No, I'm not tired. I could go for 5 more hours." But you have to give yourself a break.
That's tough.
You have to treat yourself the way you would want someone else to treat you.
Well, and just say more positive
Same
things
thing.
to yourself than negative, which is hard, right?
It is hard. It is hard. But you'll get there.
What do you tell people who, I find that oftentimes people say to me, I wish I had the time that you have to work out, as if we have this different 24 hours in a day, that other people have.
Sorry, that's bullcrap.
I think Chari gives him her overtime schedule and walks away.
I think that's bullcrap.
I do too, but what do you tell people? Because you work a very busy job and you're very caring at your job. Your job is very physical. You're awesome at it. You bake buttercream for people who you care for, etc. Oh, yes. Would you like to tell everyone what your job is?
I work in dialysis.
Yes. You are
Machine.
not only amazing at your workouts, but at caring for people. And then you come here and you're nice to people. How does that happen? I don't know. I spend all my niceness at school.
No, you
And then
don't.
I come here and I'm
You're nice
so
when you're
mean.
here. You are not mean when you come
Say
here.
up for that.
You are not. You are not.
The only time is when like a gray cook thing is involved, and then we won't go there. But
Great cook, if you're watching, I do not have a secret love affair with you. Like Justin thinks. That's beside the point. That's for another episode. But what do you tell people? Does anybody ever comment about that for you?
People at work say, I don't know how you do it, but you just do it. It's part of your lifestyle. I can work a 60, 70-hour week and still make it to the gym. If you have a 40-hour week job, you can make it to the gym.
How do you practically make that happen for yourself? Do you have any little strategies that you use?
Well, I try to go to work and then I try to come here right from work. Or I have my gym bag packed. It's in the car. I always have a gym bag in the car. So there is really no excuse. If I get out of work late, I can text someone and be like, hey, and you guys usually are really good about working around my schedule. We don't have the you work 8 to 4. We have the this is what time you come and you get done when you get done. So you could go in at 4 and still be there at 4 or 5. But you have to make yourself a priority. You can't take care of somebody else if you can't take care of yourself.
I tell you, like, how many hours a week does the average person watch Netflix? Right, give me a third of that, a fifth of that, right? Because it's when you prioritize yourself and investing in yourself, the time tends to find itself. But again, not saying it's not easier said than done, but at the same time, it's I have 26 hours a day and you only have 24. Like,
Please don't ever do that to me.
I'm gonna do it every episode now, I think.
You just have to make it work.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be part of your schedule, your plan.
I think you just have to make appointments with yourself. Like you put everything else on your calendar. Put that on your calendar. Dang nabbit.
Well, that's it. And yourself is the last person you cancel on, right? And for most people, it's not that way, but it's the process.
True story.
The Chari Figurski.
The Chari Figurski.
You share Figurski.
Adorable. So adorable.
Thanks. Okay.
Adorable, strong.
What's the next
beast
question?
mode.
I don't know.
See, and that's like we start complimenting her, and she goes,
I mean,
"Next question."
moving on.
Right.
Let me see. I've got more.
Well, and actually, that's one thing I feel like you don't do nearly as much anymore as you used to. Is like when someone would give you a compliment, the first thing you would do was like
Negate it.
tell them that their compliment wasn't valid, rather than like, "Thank you," right?
I can just say thank you and then yes. I try to coach people to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have one more.
One more to close it out.
It's really not a showstopper, though.
All right, one more before the close it out.
Okay. One time you said to me that, I think it was before we did the New Year, New You, and we were talking about food challenges and things like that. You said you felt like you were an all or nothing kind of person, which I feel like a lot of people say to me. You know, they're either on a food plan or they're off of a food plan. Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
I think I was doing, some kind of dumb exercise that Daniel makes me do, and you were probably trying to distract me because I was probably crying a little.
You probably were.
Yeah, I was. And we were talking about that. How do you cope with that? Like, what's your strategy for trying to be fairly even-keeled about that?
Meal prep, plan ahead.
Do you eat your sugary treats?
Sometimes, but not all the time.
I'd bury myself in these if I had this at home.
And does depriving yourself of these sugary, delicious treats do anything for your success in the long term?
No. I'm not saying that I won't eat a cookie, but sometimes it's easier to not eat any cookies than it is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so like I'll bring these here to my beautiful friends here, my fitness friends. I'll take some to work, and then my husband helps me with the rest.
Well, in the time question, I'm surprised you didn't say food prep because I feel like that would have been
Yeah,
our first
what is
answer
your
from
what's
you.
your food prep strategy? If you had to give people a suggestion for food prep, that's a question people ask me often.
I try to prep on Sundays, depending on what my work schedule is. If I'm working a normal work schedule, then we only work 4 days a week, but we hardly ever work a normal work schedule. So
you hardly ever work a normal work schedule, but you still find time to work out and do food prep. It is possible?
it is possible.
What?
And every year she sleeps a little more each night.
I love 2018
Right?
Chari Figurski.
Sleep was the biggest battle. But
I'd
Yeah.
agree.
it is.
We can't
the
talk
biggest
about it
battle.
right now.
Oh yes, let's talk about you.
No,
and
it's
gonna
yours.
not.
say,
That's for
that's-
another episode.
We can have Sherry on again and talk about hyphen sleep schedule.
Let's not.
Yes, when we're talking about making excuses and not doing what we're supposed to do, it's okay.
I don't make excuses.
It's okay. I wasn't a good sleeper. Now I'm a
Do you want me
good
to
sleeper.
get closer to you and
Just so much personal spacing going
Daniel?
on over here. She's not
I
as
think-
cold as she was before.
I think that Sherry likes it when we get close to her.
I do. It's great. I love that.
She's
Would you like to
loves
ask
it.
Sherry a last question, Daniel, since you have known her the longest? I'll give you the mic drop.
The mic drop.
hmm
The last time I had a really good question, it overwhelmed her. So let me think about this.
Well, you are a lot to
I mean,
handle. Not just your menacing patriarchy.
I'm ready. Go ahead.
I'm even
And
trying
all
to
of your
like
hairiness?
be inferiorly posh. All my hairiness. Listen, we can compete on that. No.
Hey,
Wow.
wow. You're going to get smacked around.
All right,
True.
good. Moving on. Next question.
If someone were to tell you that they were struggling with how to make the change in investing in themselves, what advice would you give them to kind of get them over the hump and get them off the fence?
I would tell them to make small changes first, not to try to change everything at once, and to realize that they are a priority and that they need to take care of themselves. Like, my parents, by the time they were my age, were both a hot, stinking mess. And that's my goal, is to not be a hot, stinking mess like my parents were.
I think that's a boom.
Mhm.
I don't want to be a hot, stinking mess.
Don't want to be a hot stinking mess.
I don't. I don't.
Boom. Hyphen and I will see you next week to talk about Chari Figurski.
What?
Just kidding. We will talk about Chari Figurski, but we're going to have Hyphen and I, and then in 2 weeks, we're going to have Two Guns Rockstar Maggie Schultz on the show, and she's going to try to outdo Chari Figurski's baked goods game, and we'll see if she
It
comes
doesn't
through.
necessarily have to be baked goods. We also accept crafts and coffees and other things.
Sorry, Maggie, I did not have part of that.
And
Sign
Mary
off.
Kay makeup.
Yes, Dan wants Mary Kay
That's-
makeup.
That was my secret desire. I'm glad she said it. Joe Joseph was supposed to do my makeup for today, and he was too busy doing tech stuff, so I understand. And holding down the Moon Forever fort. But see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.